Yeah, people have it. You know, it's funny because the other thing we were talking about yesterday is like all these fight videos. And you think about a fight video, what's captivating about it is so simple to understand. Oh, you don't like that person? You don't like that person. And now we're going to get to the bottom of it. And it's such an easy way to frame things.
Sure.
Polar ends. It's the same thing in politics and pretty much any argument. And I don't know that there's much that can be done about it. And I definitely think that when it comes to Elon and the BBC, that ain't going to change anytime. If they ever get together again, it's still going to be framed in the same way.
But Elon still respects the BBC.
He kept saying that.
Yeah. If there was one media source,
he kept saying, I follow the BBC. But he also said he gets a real kick out of taking the check mark away from the New York Times. Did you see how giddy he got when that topic came up?
Yeah.
Now, NPR, on the other hand, bounced. But they didn't really bounce. They didn't, they didn't, at least not yet. At least when I checked.
Like deleting their Twitter?
They didn't delete the account.
No,
it's
they're
there.
Still around. It's
there, and it's basically pushing people to the other places they can be followed.
Yeah.
When they got the label of government-funded media, which, again, he was giddy about giving to them.
NPR's like, hey.
It's also weird that NPR has a birthday. Hey, 1970, February 26th.
Oh.
That's usually organizations don't.
Yeah. It's more personal.
Usually government-funded media doesn't. Anyway, they got pissed about that label. Even though Elon went on to say, well, wait a sec, you guys are partially government-funded.
Yeah.
And I mean, he went on to also praise BBC. So it's not necessarily the case that government-funded media that you can't appreciate it. Mm-hmm. It's not, it's just that it's now labeled in such a fashion. And NPR responded by saying that this is going to cause misinterpretations as far as that they would be influenced by the fact that they're government-funded. Something along these lines. They hated the label and came back with an email, which I believe Elon posted that email, did he not?
He did, yeah.
And it basically said, hey, we're out. Like, thanks, but no thanks. And, they have a pretty significant following over there, 8 million people or something like that. NPR quits Twitter over Elon Musk's state-affiliated media label flap. We are turning away, I'll read their tweet, we are turning away from Twitter, but not from our audiences and communities. There are plenty of ways to stay connected and keep up with NPR's news, music, and cultural content. Read more about NPR's decision here. So they put out a whole press release as they basically bounced.
The bodyguards.
We haven't seen them in a while. Yeah, you got to roll those guys back out. They're my favorite characters in this movie. They don't say a word. Like they never say a word. They're just constantly looking around. They got earpieces galore.
Yeah, these are the guys who don't have TikTok.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
They definitely
not
don't.
Even close. You kidding me? Do they even have like iPhones? What kind of phones do they have? I'm curious. Military sat phones.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I don't even know what the most secure phone is. There was a time where you had political figures carrying Blackberries because they were so secure. Remember that? Here's the email that was written from Bobby Allen to Elon Musk regarding why state label. Because of the label, NPR is quitting Twitter across all of our 50-plus accounts. Our executives say the government-funded media label calls into question our editorial independence and undermines our credibility. Some wonder if this will cause a chain reaction among news orgs. What's your reaction? And then Elon's reaction is defund NPR. So he's obviously goofing around. And
this one's funny.
This is unfortunate too because there's some NPR stuff I like as well. And I don't know, I don't follow them on Twitter. And actually I haven't really engaged with any NPR content in a while. But it has happened in the past. But increasingly, it just feels that there's a war going on outside no man is safe from. It's a Mobb Deep lyric.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not talking about the sort of Queensbridge type of war. I'm talking about war of words. I'm talking about war of worlds. I'm talking war of ideologies. And it's like a lot of these conversations are over before they start. And it's just like, you're where? You're who? See ya. You're what? And the Twitter thing in general was like the writing was on the wall. You could kind of get a feeling. And then the removal, like go to New York Times. To see New York Times without a check mark is odd, man. And you know they're not feeling it. They claim they'll never pay the $5 or whatever it is, $8. But it is just so bizarre to see 55 million followers at NY Times and no check, no official. So all the imposters are on the same. Like, I guarantee you there's a NY Times with a Y, NY Times with 2 S's, NY, like.
They don't have the government-funded label, though.
Well, they're not government-funded.
Yeah.
They're an enterprise. They have ads and they have subscriptions. Mm-hmm. So, but NPR, on the other hand, they weren't. Now BBC has got the label. Now, did they get the label switched? Because in the interview there was a suggestion that maybe it should be slightly altered in the language. So, go to the official. What's interesting is the BBC World and BBC Breaking doesn't have it. Oh, there we go. Publicly funded media. Interesting. So that's what NPR could have gotten.
Yeah.
But
even Elon posted this picture of him just doing a simple Google search on NPR, and even in their About page has federal funding is essential to public radio service.
Which I believe they did. They may have even changed. I think he was complaining. I think he was talking about, oh, look, they changed the wordings. And then, of course, you have some community notes going on.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, what a mess we're living in, dude. Read the thing, read the response, read the notes on the response.
Well, I'm glad that there's at least some context.
I know, but it just goes so deep that are people really going to, what are people left with? They're left with a feeling, a chaotic feeling, I believe.
Sure.
If you had to choose between Big L or Nas, who is your pick? It would be Nas, but Big L, I mean, unbelievable. I had that stuff going in my car nonstop. Mm-hmm. Big L, rest in peace. Yeah, I had like some of those early Big L freestyles. Is probably if you gave me one line from any of them, I could probably finish the rest. Don't do it though.
Okay, so.
See, that's more fun than whatever this garbage. Like, what are we yelling? Yelling, man.
Well,
What's up with this party?
I'm just thinking, like, NPR just being such a prominent news source, this will ultimately change how people think about NPR. Just because of that tiny little label. You know, and it just brings on this.
Not for me, because when I used to engage with it, they're constantly trying to fundraise. Like they're like, "Hey, give us money, please."
Yeah.
We.
But people, unlike you, they depend on this news source, right?
Unlike me.
Yeah. You don't really care about NPR.
No, I mean I do. I said already. I kind of.
But like people who rely on it.
I just think any one source in this environment of this insane signal to noise ratio battle thing going on, any one source isn't what it, I mean, once upon a time, New York Times.
Yeah.
Once upon a time, Wall Street Journal. Once upon a time, NPR. Once upon a time, BBC. Mm-hmm. And now it's just like, we have such an abundance. Information is cheap. Information is everywhere. And it's competing all the time. And you got 4,700 players. Mm. It's hard to get too fired up about any of it.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I mean, like the next event of Elon is going to be like in the next couple of weeks. It's just going to be that much bigger. And then we're going to forget about that. So, anyways.
The next event of Elon.
Yeah.
Event Horizon.
This clip you just watched is sponsored by LaterCase. If you have been looking for an impossibly thin case to put on your brand new smartphone, you need to check out LaterCase, available for both Android and iPhone. Check the description of this clip in order to get a special offer.